Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Sam from Historic Travels and welcome to another video. And as always, before we get started today, I'd just like to take a quick moment to welcome all my new subscribers and to thank everybody who's been leaving me comments and messages down below. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And if you would like to take a couple extra steps to help support the Historic Travels YouTube channel a little bit more, there's a merch store and a Patreon for this channel in the links below. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Alright guys, the time has finally come to continue the story of the Titanic sister ship, the RMS Olympic. I know you guys have been waiting a long time for that video, and well, hey, the time has finally come. So, join me today as we continue the story of the ill-fated RMS Titanic sister ship, the RMS Olympic. Do you guys like this Titanic 3D puzzle piece my sister and her husband made? This thing is insanely cool. Seriously, where do they keep finding all that Titanic stuff? Alright guys, well hey, without any further ado, let's get into it.
When we last left the RMS Olympic, the ship had just departed Southampton on June 14, 1911 for her maiden voyage. Now, despite all the publicity and how popular the Olympic was with the general public, the ship was only half full during its maiden voyage. Although the Olympic did have one very special guest from the White Star Line on board the ship for her maiden voyage. J. Bruce Ismay, the head of the White Star Line, was on board the RMS Olympic for her maiden voyage. Now, he went on this crossing just to see how the Olympic would perform on this trip, and he also wanted to see what the public thought of the RMS Olympic, as this brand new revolutionary ocean liner completed its first voyage across the Atlantic.
And overall, Ismay was very impressed with the performance of his brand new ocean liner, and he wasn't the only one. All the passengers on board the Olympic were very impressed with the ship's performance as well. You know, even though it took the Olympic a couple of days longer to cross the Atlantic than Cunard's Lusitania and Mauretania, to make up for this, the ship was much bigger than those ocean liners. It had a much smoother ride because the Lusitania and Mauretania also suffered from vibrations due to their high rate of speed, but the Olympic didn't have that. And yeah, the ship was just... It was a marvel to see. It was a marvel to sail on her. The ship was unmatched in its luxury, its accommodations, and honestly, the future was looking bright for the White Star Line and the brand new Olympic-class ocean liners.
And on June 21st, 1911, 1 week after the Olympic departed Southampton, the ship finally steamed into New York City. The Olympic was met with great fanfare in New York City, as all the residents of the city came out to see this brand new revolutionary ocean liner. All the passengers on board the Olympic were excited about reaching their destination, and all the crew members on board the Olympic were very pleased at how this brand new ocean liner performed on her maiden voyage. Now all the White Star Line had to do was get the Olympic sister ship, the RMS Titanic, completed, and the White Star Line would finally have the two vessels they need in order to compete with Cunard Line's Lusitania and Mauretania. Over the next several months, things proceeded pretty smoothly with the RMS Olympic. The ship completed several voyages across the Atlantic with no major problems. Public opinion on this vessel was extremely high, so yeah, everything was looking good for the brand new ocean liner. Although in September of 1911, all that would change.
The first major mishap with the RMS Olympic occurred on September 20th, 1911. On this day, the Olympic was getting ready to begin her fifth transatlantic voyage and travel from Southampton to New York City. The Olympic departed Southampton with around 1,300 people on board, and the ship was going to make a quick stop in Cherbourg, as it had done before, and pick up more passengers. Although, the ship would never make it to Cherbourg. As it was departing Southampton Harbor, something unexpected occurred.
As the Olympic was steaming out of Southampton Harbor, the vessel accidentally got extremely close to a Royal Navy ship known as the HMS Hawke. The HMS Hawke was a warship designed and built for the British Navy, and you see, the Hawke had one feature on board that would make this situation with the Olympic extremely dangerous. The bow of the Hawke was designed to be able to easily slice through the hull of any vessel it came into contact with. And the reason it was designed this way was because if the Hawke was ever in a situation to where it could ram an enemy vessel, they wanted the bow to be easily able to slice through the hull of that ship, thus allowing it to rapidly flood and sink. Now, the Hawke was a much smaller vessel than the RMS Olympic, and due to how big the Olympic was and the amount of water she displaced, plus the close proximity between the Hawke and the Olympic, this caused the Hawke's bow to be sucked into the side of the Olympic. The Hawke's bow sliced into the Olympic on the starboard side right around the stern section, and the bow of the Hawke went right through the Olympic's hull like a knife going through butter, and this put a huge hole in the side of the Olympic, breaching two watertight compartments and causing them to rapidly flood. Okay, so before we continue talking about the Olympic Hawk collision, I think first we need to take a small pause and discuss how the watertight bulkhead system on the Olympic class of ocean liners functioned.
Now, the watertight bulkhead system on the RMS Olympic and the soon-to-be-completed RMS Titanic was very state-of-the-art for the time. You see, these vessels were designed with 16 watertight compartments, and any 2 of those 16 watertight compartments could be breached, and the ship would not be in danger of sinking. So that means, like, let's say the Olympic had a hole here and a hole here, the vessel would be fine. The ship could have 2 holes in the stern section, the ship would be fine. And here is another really cool design feature about the Olympic class of ocean liners. Let's say the Olympic was in some kind of a freak head-on collision with, I don't know, an iceberg, for example. Let's say on April 14th, 1912, the Olympic was sailing along and it struck an iceberg on the starboard side, and the iceberg opened up 4 of the Olympic's watertight compartments. Well, the ship would not be in any danger of sinking. The Olympic class of ocean liners could handle the first 4 watertight compartments, meaning the first 4 compartments at the very front of the ship. All of these could flood and the ship would not sink. Although it could only handle that much damage at the very front of the ship, it could not handle any more than 2 compartments breached anywhere else, because if it did, the ship would founder. Now, in terms of the collision with the Olympic and the HMS Hawk, when that happened, the Olympic had 2 watertight bulkheads compromised. So the captain on the Olympic, and at the time this was Captain Smith, the same Captain Smith that would later captain Titanic, he ordered the watertight bulkhead doors shut, and the doors shut and basically sealed off those 2 compartments, preventing the water from flooding the rest of the ship. So the Olympic really did just barely survive the damage with the Hawk. If just one more watertight bulkhead would have been compromised with the Hawk collision, the Olympic would have sunk.
Right after the collision with the HMS Hawk, the Olympic turned around and made her way back into the harbor at Southampton. Now, once the ship arrived in Southampton Harbor, they basically had to do some real quick repairs to the Olympic just to get the ship seaworthy enough so the vessel could make her way to the shipyard in Belfast, where she could undergo more permanent repairs. The HMS Hawk was also pretty badly damaged in the collision with the Olympic. As you can see in this photo, the entire bow section of the Hawk was completely smashed in the collision. But still, due to the quick actions of the crew on board the Hawk, this vessel didn't sink either. And this vessel would continue on and serve for a couple more years until the vessel would be eventually sunk in the First World War. Over the next 2 weeks, while the Olympic was still docked in Southampton, the crew worked tirelessly in order to patch up the Olympic's hull enough just to get the vessel seaworthy enough so the ship could proceed to Belfast for more permanent repairs. The work went without any major issues, and then once the vessel was deemed seaworthy, the Olympic weighed anchor and departed Southampton, bound for Belfast, the city of her birth, where she could undergo more permanent repairs.
Now, the financial burden on the White Star Line due to the collision between the Olympic and the Hawk was enormous. Not only was their brand new ocean liner not generating any income because it wasn't sailing the transatlantic crossing, but they also had to deal with the extensive amounts of repairs that the Olympic would need in order to get her back into service. So once the Olympic made her way back to the Belfast shipyard, her sister ship, the RMS Titanic, was undergoing her final stages of construction. It would still be a while before the Titanic was ready to set sail, but she was undergoing the fitting out process, meaning the Titanic's funnels were being attached, she was getting fitted with her engines, her furnishings, all of this stuff was going on. Now, because the Olympic was so badly damaged, and the White Star Line needed to get her back into service as quickly as possible, they ended up taking a part from Titanic in order to help speed up the repairs on the Olympic. You see, when the Hawk hit the Olympic, she hit the Olympic on the starboard side close to the stern section, and when this happened, it damaged one of the Olympic's propeller shafts. So, because the Olympic and the Titanic were near identical sister ships, the White Star Line took the propeller shaft from the Titanic and used it to repair the one on the Olympic.
Now, because the White Star Line was in a hurry to get the Olympic back into service as quickly as possible, they pulled men who were working on the Titanic and sent them over to work on the Olympic in order to speed up repairs. So, because of both the propeller shaft that they had to take from Titanic and the amount of men who were working on the Titanic had to be sent over to repair Olympic, this would delay the completion of the Titanic significantly. So that means while the Olympic was still being worked on, the Titanic would have to wait a little longer before she was able to enter service.
Now, repairs to the Olympic were officially completed on November 20th, 1911, and the ship officially re-entered service. And for the next few months, everything proceeded smoothly with the RMS Olympic. And once repairs on the Olympic were completed, construction resumed at full speed on the RMS Titanic. The White Star Line really wanted to get this vessel into service as quickly as possible. So, as the Olympic carried on, it resumed its transatlantic crossings route, and for the next several months, there wasn't really anything very eventful to speak of with the RMS Olympic, which in terms of controlling and running an ocean liner is a good thing. An uneventful crossing is a good crossing. However, all that changed in February of 1912, as the Olympic was steaming on a eastbound crossing from New York City, heading for Southampton. The Olympic threw a propeller blade, and as a result of this, the vessel once again had to proceed to Belfast for repairs.
When the Olympic arrived once again at the Belfast shipyard to undergo repairs, work began on her immediately. The White Star Line did not want the Olympic out of service for very long. Now, when the Olympic arrived, the ship needed a new propeller blade, and the only place to get one was once again from her sister ship, the Titanic, which at this point was nearing completion. Now, once they took the Titanic's propeller blade and put it on the Olympic, work proceeded very smoothly. The Olympic was able to get in and out of the shipyard in Belfast in a grand total of 8 days. But because the Titanic had to give up one of its propeller blades, this would delay the completion and maiden voyage of the Titanic. Before the ship had to give up its propeller blade to Olympic, the Titanic's maiden voyage was less than a month away. However, because it had to give up its propeller blade, this would in fact push the Titanic's maiden voyage back from March 20th, 1912 to April 10th, 1912.
Now, once repairs were complete on the Olympic, the ship departed the shipyard in Belfast and got back to work during the transatlantic crossing. The White Star Line really couldn't afford to have the Olympic out of commission for very long due to how many setbacks they already faced with this vessel. Now, once the Olympic left, work resumed in the shipyard on trying to complete the Olympic sister ship, the RMS Titanic. You have to remember, this ship is very close to being done, and the White Star Line really needed this vessel in service as quickly as possible. The White Star Line, in order to directly compete with the Cunard Lines Lusitania and Mauretania, really did need both the Olympic and the Titanic in service at the exact same time in order to directly compete with those two vessels. And due to how many setbacks the White Star Line had to deal with the Olympic and the Hawk collision and the propeller blade, it really was more crucial than ever for work to be completed on the Titanic and get this vessel to work as quickly as possible.
Over the next several weeks, construction on the RMS Titanic was completed, and finally, after years in the making, the White Star Line had both the RMS Olympic and its sister ship, the RMS Titanic, ready to go in order to compete with the Cunard Lines Lusitania and Mauretania. And on April 10th, 1912, the RMS Titanic departed Southampton, bound for New York City on its maiden voyage.
Now, at the exact same time the RMS Titanic was departing Southampton and heading towards New York City for its maiden voyage, its sister ship, the RMS Olympic, was in New York City, getting ready to depart there and head towards Southampton. Now, you see, this was the whole idea around the marketing strategy of the White Star Line in terms of how they wanted to operate both these vessels. They wanted, no matter which side of the Atlantic you were on, to always have access to one of these two ships. And then week after week, as these ships were doing the transatlantic crossing, the ships would basically trade places with each other on both sides of the Atlantic. So no matter which side you were on, you would always have access to either the Olympic or the Titanic.
Now, for the first several days into the Titanic's maiden voyage, everything was proceeding very smoothly on board the ship. All the systems on board the vessel were operating within normal parameters, and everybody was very happy with how this new vessel was performing. And the very same thing can be said for the Titanic's sister ship, the Olympic. Following the whole Hawk collision and this vessel throwing a propeller blade, finally the Olympic was operating as it rightfully should. So for the first time ever, the White Star had both the Olympic and the Titanic sailing on the Atlantic Ocean at the exact same time. Now, as far as the Olympic's eastbound voyage, everything was proceeding pretty smoothly on board. And then, on the night of April the 15th, 1912, the Olympic's wireless radio operator was listening to messages and sending messages from the Olympic, and then all of a sudden, he detected a very strange distress call come through the Olympic's radio.
CQD, this is Titanic. CQD, this is Titanic. CQD, this is Titanic.
Alright everybody, well hey, I think I'm going to wrap up the video here. This seems like a pretty good spot to pause the Olympic timeline series for now. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure you leave it a like, and please subscribe to my channel if you're new here. And if you're looking for something else to watch, I did a collaboration with Jesse Gillett a while back, and Basically, what he does on his channel is he shows sinking ship simulations that people make in various different types of video games. So he was kind enough to show me this video game called Stormworks, which I had never played before. And he ran this whole sinking ship simulation thing that you can recreate in the game. And he invited me in to check it out, and it was a really cool experience. And he made an entire video about the whole thing, and the video is on his channel. So if you would like to go and check that out, I will leave a link to that down below. Jesse, thank you so much for inviting me, man. That was a ton of fun doing that whole sinking ship game. So, hey, I want to do another one of those again very soon. All right, everybody. Well, hey, thank you all so much for being here. Please give the video a like. Please subscribe. And, guys, keep doing what you're doing. You guys are awesome. All right, everybody. Well, hey, thank you all so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good night, everybody.
Special thanks to Patreon Captain level supporter Callum Whaley. Thank you so much for all the support, man.